Hi, this is Christy Turner, your Dementia Sherpa with the Dementia Sherpa Show. I'm super excited because we have Krissie Lenahan as our special guest today. She is the owner of, I knew I was going to mix up the name, Live Pure Mama. That's what she's the owner of. And she's an ambassador with Pure Haven. She's also an educator, and I'm going to let her explain that part to you. But the reason I'm super excited is because of what Live Pure Mama is all about and what Pure Haven is all about. And she's going to kind of walk us through that. And I'm going to let her introduce herself before my excitement just bubbles up and takes over. Hi, Krissie. Thanks for coming on.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me, Christy. This is awesome.
My pleasure. So did I get that right? You're the owner of Live Pure Mama, an ambassador for Pure Haven,
Right.
and an educator.
Yes. I'm also a high school health teacher. Yep.
Right. Okay. So is being a high school health teacher, is that what led you to Pure Haven? Yes?
Yes, absolutely. In the fall.
Actually, I know because I've had the pleasure of meeting you in person, so I can know a little bit of your story. But what I forgot to ask is, explain to us what Pure Haven is.
Okay.
Is it pet toys? Is it, what is it?
It's a company that makes non-toxic body products and home cleaning products. But what makes it really unique and what really drew me to them is they put education first. So their whole mission is to increase awareness in the public about what I now call the toxic issue, meaning that a lot of our mainstream products have toxic ingredients in them that are linked to disease and disorder. So the idea of Pure Haven is to teach workshops, and I help families learn what to spot on labels and how to actually choose safer products so that they don't need to be using things that are linked to disease.
Okay, perfect. Now I think everybody can see why I'm excited.
Yeah.
Krissie, right? You do what? Huh? Everybody in the Dementia Sherpa tribe knows that I am not one of those people that's like, you should do something weird, or there's a secret cure to Alzheimer's, but Big Pharma doesn't want you to know it. I think that's a bunch of BS.
Right.
That said, although right now I don't have anybody living with dementia living with me, you all know that I've had 8 personal experiences in my family. And so I'm very well aware of safety issues regarding, let's say, cleaning products, personal care products in your home when you have someone who's cognitively impaired. Mm-hmm. I'm not a mama, but Krissie is, obviously. You know that in her company name. But I do have fur balls in my house too.
Yeah.
So 3 dogs. And that is obviously also an issue, is there are, people and pets that we love that we don't want near anything toxic.
Absolutely.
So, what is that kind of what drew you to this, Krissie, or was it as an educator? How did you find?
How did I stumble? Yeah.
How did you stumble into this?
I love how everybody has their own little story about how they got connected with their passion points, So. Mm-hmm. In the fall of 2015, I went to a conference for health teachers, and there was this section of time where we could choose a session and nothing was really jumping out at me. And so I thought, well, I'll just attend this one called Toxic Beauty. I don't really know what that means. So I went, and the presenter was explaining about how in Europe, they have a whole different set of rules for pre-testing products before they put them on the shelves. And because they do that, safety testing before it goes to market, they have banned, well, it's over this number now, but at the time it was 1,371 chemicals from personal care products because they have linked them to disease and disorder. And then she went on to explain that in the United States, there were 11. There are more now, but we're only up
So
in...
you're saying there weren't only 11 in the United States because all of our personal care products are superior, but more like,
quite the opposite. Yeah.
more like we weren't really paying attention.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And we have no regulations in place. I was shocked and horrified as I sat there because I felt like I was an educated person. I'd gone to college a lot of years, and I also was at the time a mom of a 2-year-old. Jacob is 5 now. But I had just been through my first miscarriage, and so it was really like close to my heart. And I sat there thinking, why did no one ask me as I had gone through these doctor's appointments and, fertility struggles and that kind of thing? Not one doctor had asked, what kinds of products are you choosing, and do you know how to choose safe ones? I honestly did not know about this issue. And so, when you're sitting somewhere and you can feel yourself getting angry, that's usually when you know that you've reached like a passion point. And so I knew I had to change my curriculum, of course, and teach kids about this. But then I also knew that I had to find something safe for my family. And that just began a really huge learning curve for me.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry that's how you got there, but we're grateful that you're going to share your knowledge with us. And also because obviously folks in the Dementia Sherpa tribe are primary care partners. And so that means that some of them, I don't really know how many. I should ask you guys. Email me. Let me know. But a good number of folks have their person living in their home with them.
Right.
Some live in memory care communities.
Okay.
So in either case, though, those environments are cleaned, right? There are cleaning products that are used, and then clothes that are washed. Mm-hmm. Soap in the shower, and I know showering is one of our issues sometimes, one of our struggles and challenges. Shampoo, that type of thing. So I'm curious about that, and curious for myself too, because I have been doing this for so many years, like
exactly
17 years now, that way back when I started, it was, everybody was running, screaming from aluminum.
Yes.
So aluminum pots and pans cause Alzheimer's. Aluminum in a perspirant, that causes Alzheimer's. And it was like a 5-alarm fire. And then a couple of years later, aluminum's totally fine. Aluminum is not the cause of this.
Yes, you get the swing of the pendulum.
Later, yeah. So I've heard all kinds of stuff. From aluminum to vitamin B12 to, vitamin E, like something's going to cure it or something causes it. And then things go, it just swings around.
Yeah.
So I am of the personal belief that there is no miracle cure.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I can't wait for the day that I can say there is a cure. So we're very super excited about the first survivor who's out there somewhere right now, but we don't know who that person is yet. In the meantime, I think it's just great common sense that if there are things that are not good for you,
absolutely,
don't use those things. For example, I think we all know that sugar is not a great idea. I'm working on it.
Me too. I'm with you.
I am not where I need to be on that yet, but I will tell everyone, you have to start somewhere.
Yeah, and what I usually tell the customers that I work with and families when I'm training is that there's a lot of toxins that we take in various ways where we don't have a lot of choice. we only have so much choice with what air we breathe. And even with our food, we can learn to read labels, but there are a lot of things that can slip into food
Yep.
that we don't know about, whether that would be in the growing process or whatever. And once you know what to look for and what your buying resources and sources for information are, the personal care industry is a super empowering place to start, because even though I completely recognize it's just a piece of the puzzle, it is a place where you can make a significant difference and where you have almost 100% choice if you know what you're looking for. So it should be an empowering place to start.
Okay, so let's start with well, let me ask your opinion. In your opinion, what is the easiest place or to start? Like, if you're thinking changes are a good idea. I'm going to start with something that I think we can all use. Like, this is, I'm very curious about this, is cleaning products.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because although I don't have a person living with me, a person living with dementia living with me, sometimes I'm lucky enough to get grandkids at the house.
Yeah.
And also dogs, have dogs.
Yes.
So, of course, Clorox is not a great idea.
Right.
I'm guessing. I'm going to take a wild guess. Just based on how my eyes and my lungs respond to it.
Right.
Not
right.
a genius idea.
Absolutely. Listen to your body symptoms.
Right. So I know that, like, for cleaning counters in my kitchen, 409 works great. It gets the job done. Clorox wipes totally get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know that even though I put my hand under there, you know, and wiping crumbs, I don't always catch them. And my dogs are not geniuses. They're not mental giants, I'm going to tell you. So they don't care if crumbs have Clorox on them from Clorox wipes. They don't care if it has 409. They'll do it. So I've switched to using water and vinegar, which
That's great.
they don't mind vinegar either, because, again, they're not geniuses. and I do feel, I mean, you know, things are clean. That's not an issue, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
It smells better than Clorox, but marginally. So.
Right. I'll go along with that. Yeah. And one thing that you touched on is you talked about, like, the danger of possibly, you know, eating it, and you're being worried about the dogs doing that. But one thing that people really don't realize, and I swear I did not either until I learned about this, is, you know, our skin is our largest organ, and it is an extremely effective vehicle right to our bloodstream. So, and science even recognizes this, you know, they make drugs that are delivered through the skin, like the birth control patch and the patch to stop smoking and everything, because the skin is really good at absorbing. And when you eat something, it, I mean, it's definitely not a good idea to go home and eat some toxic thing. But when you do, accidentally or whatever, if it's in your food or however you ingest something, it has sort of a natural filtration system built in. So it goes through our kidneys and our liver, and their job is to detoxify what we take in. And yes, it's possible to overtax your liver, and then you can have liver disease, and then it's not functioning correctly, and that's bad also. But when you absorb stuff through the skin, you don't have a natural filtration system. It goes right into the bloodstream. And then depending on where on your body you absorbed that, it's going to be directed to the liver, but it's probably going to take the scenic route in getting there and could be absorbed anywhere along the line, whether that be in another organ or any kind of fat cells or in your heart, in your brain.
Is everybody freaking out right now, or is it just... Go ahead.
So I was absolutely guilty of buying most of my stuff, like soap and cleaners and stuff at the dollar store. Like I was just thrifty, and they had all these fun scents, that I could get my lime coconut or whatever. And I really did not think about my skin absorbing all of that. And especially with hand soap, that's just one of those things where you think like, well, I'm doing a good job. I'm being clean, and I wash my hands every time I use the restroom or whatever the case is, before I eat and clean and all of that. But really, the more that you're washing with toxic soap, you're also putting those chemicals into your body. And some of them, like aluminum that you mentioned, are bioaccumulative, meaning that they get into your fat cells and then they can't get out. And so over time, that buildup of chemical in your body becomes toxic over time.
Yeah. So I would say, like, we may not have definitive proof that aluminum causes Alzheimer's or what have you. I always think of it like this. Ask yourself, if somebody handed you an aluminum can to eat, would you do that? Probably not.
Right.
So you do want to look at, what kinds of things are you coming into contact with?
Right.
And you have to be extreme, like I'm going to eat an aluminum can, but point taken that the accumulation over time, probably not a great idea on aluminum and a variety of other things.
Right.
And I think the point you made about skin absorption is so important. I just always think to this, and this is pretty much when I stopped using bleach years ago, was I'm not an idiot. So, of course, I wasn't just using bleach with my bare hands. I had on the big, gloves. And okay. And, it smelled terrible, but okay. You open all the windows like you do. And, and then wash your hands, even though you've used the gloves, wash your hands. And then I noticed, like, picking up a sandwich or whatever, it still smells like bleach on my hands. And now it tastes like anything I've touched that I put in my mouth tastes like it too.
Yes.
And we live in Oregon. Opening the windows for good ventilation is not a year-round thing.
Sure. And then you, of course, like what you alluded to, like, why are you doing this to yourself, cleaning your house with something that you can't even inhale?
Right.
Right. Yeah. I think also, like, another thing to watch out for is people always think that using, that if it says natural, that means it's safe. But we're talking about aluminum, and that's just one example where that's a naturally occurring element, but we don't necessarily need to have it in our body. And so natural doesn't always mean safe. Right. And in saying that, you also have to watch what is put on the labels. So there's this term called greenwashing. And if you have heard of brainwashing is like getting somebody to think what you think or believe what you believe. And the same thing goes for greenwashing. That's a term that means that manufacturers put something on the label to make you think that it's a wonderfully safe product.
All natural, organic.
Yes. And because the personal care industry is not regulated, like I literally went onto the FDA site and read the paragraph that says, because they have too much on their plate, and they really do, the personal care industry will need to self-regulate. So that is just not happening, because why would they spend all that money for safety testing and label approval and all that stuff if they're not being regulated to do so, because that costs a lot of money and takes away from product or from profits. So they'll throw something up like a leaf, or they'll say natural oat extract or whatever. And yeah, sure, that's great if it contains natural oat extract, but that doesn't mean anything about what other things it contains until you turn it over and actually read the label. And then that becomes a really frustrating process, because if you've tried to do that, you know that when you turn it over and you read the label and you think, okay, I'm going to check and see what's in this thing, you can't read half of those items anyway. So
you know what I'm thinking of is
you
like,
don't know what you're looking at.
Yeah, like popcorn.
Yeah.
Right? 100% golden flavor butter, or 100% gold flavor, but I think that's what it's called, 100% gold flavor butter. What is gold flavor? What I mean,
I don't know.
so, but it's because we've been trained to see things like 100% real. Oh, okay, it must be okay.
Yeah, this must be a great company, totally safe and lots of integrity. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So what, as far as, and I know because we've all been here, we lead busy lives. Most dementia care partners, I'm going to go out on a limb and say 99.98% of dementia care partners do not have time to do a research project.
Yeah.
Is this a good deodorant? Is this a good soap?
Right.
Is this a good cleaner? So what?
Yes. Well, after I realized this issue when I went to that conference and I came home pretty overwhelmed, like some people might be feeling right now, I knew that I would have to find something for my family. And I started researching a whole bunch. And I could not find companies that I could trust across the board. I would use my resources and my buying guides, which I can get into tools if you want, but I was not finding companies where every single one of their products was safe. I would find it where, maybe they have a great foundation, but then I can't trust their facial cleanser, or, maybe they have a great kitchen spray, but whatever, their laundry detergent is terrible. And so that was really hard. And I was spending a bunch of time researching every label, and you can't do that. Even moms don't have time for that. So in search, yeah. So then I went to the route of, okay, fine, I'm just going to make my own. And I researched on Pinterest and found some things. So specifically, I was going to make my own deodorant. That's where I was going to start. And I had saved the recipe and everything. I was literally going to go after this holiday fair that I went to. I was going to go to the health food store and buy the bulk materials to make my own. And then it was just so serendipitous. At that holiday fair, I found a booth for Pure Haven, and I started talking with the person about this issue. And she knew so much, and she knew all the resources that I had been trying to use. She gave me some more ideas, and then she told me about their mission. And it's the cleanest company with the most integrity that I have found. And so I was telling you before, their mission is to spread awareness about this actual issue, and then to offer solutions that are completely clean. So they've even gone through the hoops to get their entire facility USDA certified organic. They're non-GMO. Every single thing is gluten-free. They source really responsibly, and I was just blown away by, I would test it out. I would try and look at every label and just try to find something kind of sketchy or kind of edgy, and they're not. Like, they do not compromise. And so that was kind of a huge sigh of relief for me. And I bought a bunch of stuff from her that day and used it for several months. And then when my teaching job kind of went down that semester after the holiday, because I work at a really small school and most of the kids had taken my classes already. I actually approached her and I said, I think I am really passionate about this, and I would like to get on board and be able to offer this to people and educate like you do. And so then I got the training to do that.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So this leads me to some super specific questions.
Okay. Shoot.
So one, let's say I do want to make some changes, but I don't really know where to start.
Yeah.
Can you give like a tip or two on how would people determine like what the best thing? Because I think
Yeah,
like
where to start.
situation, I'm thinking cleaners would be where I would want to start. But is that where you recommend, or is there something else you recommend?
Well, that's a super good question. And the answer is always, almost always when you ask this stuff, it depends.
Yeah.
But really what it depends on is, so what I would recommend, I know that this is a little bit of a time investment, but I would recommend just sitting down and making a quick list, but brainstorm as much as you can what products you or your loved one that lives with you uses every single day. So what are the products you use every single day?
Okay.
Then you would look at those products and you would say, okay, which ones do I use one time every single day or 2 times every single day or even more than that? For instance, toothpaste.
Okay.
Yeah, toothpaste, hopefully maybe you're using it twice a day. Deodorant once a day, hand soap more than once a day. The other thing to kind of take into account is how bad are the things that you're already using. So the only way to figure that out is to analyze those labels. And I can go into resources and tools if you want. I'm happy to share. But that is a little bit of an overwhelming process because you have to know what databases to plug those into and get a danger rating. And then you can decide, so which products are the worst and which do I use the most, and kind of come to a priority list about which ones you're going to switch out first, because it is a process. You're not going to just like dump everything in your whole entire home and start fresh unless you have, a lot of money basically. So it can be a process over, I would say most of my customers can do it in about 3 to 6 months and change over everything in their home and stay within their normal budget, because they just sort of, as they run out of things, that's a good strategy. Then, you don't have to do it all at once. So when you run out of your laundry soap, that is when you're going to research laundry soap. So look at how bad yours was and make your own decision about whether or not that's a priority to switch for you.
Okay. So I like that. Then let's say that I am ready right now. Like, I really don't have time to screw around with doing some research. I feel like I'm educated enough to know that there are better options than,
Right.
and I'm not going to throw out a brand name something, but I already threw Clorox under the bus, so let's use that.
Done deal.
Yeah, let's say bleach. So I know I don't want to use that. So then how do I get something that is a great cleaner?
Yeah.
I mean, can I just do I place an order with you, or is this a multi-level marketing thing? Like, is this like Amway where I should ask this question the first, like right out of the gate. Is this like Amway?
No.
Where you're going to promise me to become a billionaire if I sell everybody ever?
No.
Am I hitting pause on this right now?
No, but it is a model in which I get to sell directly to people because I get to be their consultant and an ongoing ambassador. So a couple of things about what you asked. So Pure Haven offers bundles where you get a higher value for more products. Because they want you to be able to try out which ones work for you. And so they give you kind of more in that bundle. It's a better value for buying in bulk, basically.
Okay.
And so those, you can see all of those on my website, which we can post for people. And then they also have a program called the Preferred Customer Club. And those are people that really are ready to sort of make this their main brand and Your orders, you only order every 2 months, which I really like. It's a lot more flexibility than like being tied to a monthly thing. So you order every 2 months, and then whatever you order just comes directly to your door. And your orders can be as small or as large as you want. You could be ordering one thing, or you could be ordering 20 things. But if that order is over $70, then it ships for free. So since you're ordering every 2 months, that works out to about $35 a month, which is probably what people are spending on personal care products anyway. So I usually suggest that's a really high value. And they have a bundle called the Lifestyle Bundle that sort of includes things from a whole bunch of different lines that we offer. There's cleaners in there, there's the laundry soap in there, and then there's body products, there's the deodorant and the toothpaste, which are really basic things.
Okay.
And so that's a really great place to start. I also, I work with a lot of families who are still overwhelmed, and they want to create their own priorities, but they don't want to do all of that time commitment. And so I offer Detox Coaching, where I help them do that whole process. I help them prioritize which ones they're using are the worst and which
So
ones.
you do the work. You
Right.
do all the research.
I do it with them.
You do the time-consuming thing.
Yes, well, I sit with them and empower them to do it. And I do.
I want to know what is the least homework option? Because I know you're an educator. It's
Probably
loud and clear, but
the least homework option is to buy the bundles. Because
okay.
then you're just automatically given the basic products.
Okay. And that's like roughly $35 a month. Like,
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's more like, so it's not Amway.
Right.
Yeah. That's the first important thing to know. That's the first very important thing to know. So I'm going to ask this, even though it seems like the answer should be obvious, but just to double check. Because years ago, when I think I was, 18, 20 years old, something like that, I loved Pantene so much. Oh, I loved my Pantene shampoo. And then I found out
used it too.
Yeah, I found out that Procter & Gamble used animals in their testing.
Oh, yes.
And I was like, I'll miss you, Pantene.
Well, good for you. That's amazing that you gave that up. That's great.
Yeah. So bye-bye, Pantene. That was the last time I used Pantene. And it turns out there's shampoo that's at least as good, if not better. It felt like a sacrifice at the time. In retrospect, I understand it really wasn't. And I don't know if I saved a bunny, but I hope I did. So I don't want to make a wild assumption that Pure Haven doesn't test on animals.
Right.
Do they?
No, they don't. It's a PETA certified organization, so we never test on animals.
Boom. Okay.
Yeah.
Important to know. It sounded like they probably wouldn't, but just thought, what the heck? Never heard.
Yeah. Another just sort of like random question that I sometimes get is I get families who say, well, we go camping a lot, and when we're camping, we only use biodegradable products, and would that fit? And yes, all of our products are biodegradable. They can go, onto the ground and be completely fine. They can go into the drain and not mess up our water systems. And so, yeah.
Well, I'm really glad you brought that up, because I don't go camping. I go glamping. So it never would have occurred to me to ask that question. So thank you.
So just bring along your Pure Haven and you're fine.
Okay. Good to know. So I'm going to put the links in the show notes here so that folks can go directly to Live Pure Mama, and that's where they can find all kinds of resources as far as like how to sign up for bundles if they want to do that, see what all products are available. And then you mentioned tools, and the reason I never jumped on that is because honestly, you guys, I recorded an interview with Krissie a couple of weeks ago. And as we all know, I am not a tech genius. And so I jacked up the audio, which is why we're re-recording. But in that first conversation, which is amazing to me because I think we've barely touched on any of the same things from our last conversation.
I know.
There's so much to talk about. But Krissie explained the tools and like how you, and I was just, all I was thinking was, oh my God, there is no way.
I know. People do not want to do that.
I do not have the time to do what she was describing. But important to know, and we'll put the links in there, Krissie does have the tools so that you can do your own research. There's a couple of things, couple of data. One's a massive database and one's a marginally less massive database. You guys know me. I'm not about, like, I just don't have time. Probably like you don't have time. But she's a great resource. So you are open to people contacting you and asking questions and
yes, definitely.
And you'll actually help people.
Right. Yes, definitely. On my personal website, which we will link up, that's the livepuremama.com one, I list those resources, and they're really easy to find. And if people want to dive deeper into that, they're right there. There's free apps and databases, like you mentioned. And then if they want to explore the products, there's also a link on that website, or they can just go straight to the buying website, which we can link up as well. So,
okay. All right. And then what if, I just love to plan for contingencies. So what if I think that I would, I'm ready to try like maybe a different detergent, but, my skin's pretty sensitive and I really have to be sure that, like, is there like do you ever do like sample size stuff? Or, yeah?
Yeah, I do samples, and people can contact me and ask questions or ask for samples, and I'm happy to send it as long as it's stuff that makes sense. There's some stuff that's a little hard to sample, like deodorant. But
you're just going to have to gamble on that one.
But another thing that's really good to know, which I have so much respect for the company for doing this, but they have a 60-day, so 2 months, empty bottle guarantee. So you can literally return a bottle that's completely empty and say, I didn't like this, and you can get an equal product of the same value back, or you can try another one if you thought that one was faulty for some reason or whatever, or you can get a refund. And so that all happens through your consultant, and that's just one of the amazing things about having an actual person that works with you, that can help with those customer service things. So it's a pretty awesome guarantee. It's the best guarantee that you're going to find in a personal care product company.
Yeah, that's an amazing guarantee. Obviously, you wouldn't use a product down to empty and then ask for your money back, because that's really bad karma. But that definitely helps you figure out, like,
right.
Was it something glitchy, not due to the product, or what, you can.
Yeah, well, it makes you just feel better about taking a chance, like
absolutely
trying something new.
Really no risk.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, that's awesome. So and then again, final question, for people like me who have a long to-do list every single day, and definitely want to and try to live as well as possible on a day-to-day basis, for families that, would like to make some environmental changes or some product changes, things like that, just don't really know where to start, how to, what's the big deal, or are like interested, but, you can help with that also.
Yeah, absolutely. People just,
so you're not just like, here's your laundry detergent, good luck.
Yeah. No, that's what I love about continuously working with families in an ongoing way. And sometimes I really get to know them and know what their needs are, and then I can touch base with them and that kind of thing. Probably the easiest way to contact me directly is just through my Facebook page and to send me a message. So my Facebook page is Live Pure Mama, and you can just send a message and we can get going on a conversation that will help you, figure out what your needs are.
Awesome. So we're going to put that in the show notes too. Thank you, Krissie, so much for your
Absolutely. Time. Yeah.
It's especially now I've revealed she's done this twice now. Uh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
The awareness now that this is something that even exists. So we have choices and we can do things differently.
Yes.
You know, I'm a rebel. I hate it when people tell me, you know, there's no other option or there's no other way to do it. I'm like, really? I'll find something.
The big companies would like you to think that.
This was really serendipitous that I met you. So awesome. Thank you so much, Krissie.
I really appreciate you having me. Thanks, Kristie.
You betcha. Bye now.
Bye.